So we just launched Prep Insta Prime subscription, which is like 150 plus courses under one subscription. So it has courses like C, C++, Java, Python, artificial intelligence, machine learning, cybersecurity, data structures, competitive coding, even company specific courses like TCS, NQT, Infosys, TCS Digital, Amazon, etc. The link is in the description of the video. Go check that out. I'm sure that you'll love that. Hello everyone, welcome. We are going to be looking at the Infosys pseudocode questions that have appeared in the past. So I'll just show you. I will be solving a lot of questions. So I've taken actual questions from the exam. Since the screenshots that we have are not exactly visible, so I'll kind of show them like to you here. So we'll be covering all of those actual questions as well. We'll be solving a few of those. But make sure you go to prepinstart.com and all the previous year papers. So for example, if you search Infosys previous year paper, so obviously your website would come on top. You go to this particular page. From here you'll get all the previous year questions in quiz formats. So for example, quants, logical, verbal, puzzles. If you go to puzzles here and let's say all the questions that are from the previous year questions of Infosys, you'll get here. You'll get a lot of explanation and time-based performance as well. So for a few questions that I'm covering in this video, apart from that, you can go to the website and then solve a few more few more pseudocode questions a little later. One more thing is on Prep Insta Prime, which is like Netflix 150 plus courses under one subscription. We've also launched Infosys course as well. So definitely make sure that you check that out. And as you can see, the course would be found here. We are covering the whole syllabus. Apart from that, you'll need DSA, C, C++. Everything else is available under one subscription. So let's go ahead and start solving questions very, very quickly. One more thing, follow us on all the social media channels. There are, as of now, Microsoft, Google and Amazon are hiring for 23 batch. So link is in the description. Make sure that you follow us on all the social media channels to get the off-campus update for all of these. Again, as always, top 3 comments, get Prep Insta Prime subscription absolutely free. Now, let's go ahead and have a look upon the question. Obviously, this is a 2-mark question. So there will be some questions that would be difficult or let's say lengthy or would be from data structure. Generally, pseudocode questions that they'll have would be of 1 mark. And the other Java questions or data structures questions or Python questions would be of 2 marks. And C, C++ pseudocode questions would be of 1 mark. So again, this is very important for you to solve, but we can't read the question here. So what I've done is from the screenshot, I've copy pasted this here and then have a look upon the question. So what I want you to do is I'll explain you the question, but then it will become too easy for you. For now, I want you to pause the video and then I want you to probably check that okay if your answer was correct or not. So I hope that you pause the video. Now I'll go ahead and start explaining you the question. So basically they are saying okay, do binary search. If you basically read all of this, this is not necessary. Only thing important is binary search, and here they've given the algorithm for that. Obviously all of us, I hope all of you know what is binary search algorithm, right? If you don't know, obviously let's say right now, then you need to study data structures. So then in the first part, they're saying, okay, compare the middle element. Okay. In the second part, they're saying, okay, look at the mid. In the third part, they are saying that, okay, find what is the third part. So basically, A is nothing but any one of the thing out of option 1, 2, 3, and 4. And fourth one is they are saying left half. So let's have a look upon binary search and then we will understand of all of it. So basically what happens in binary search is you get the whole array which would be sorted, very important. Now let's say if you are looking for 8, so in that case it's a recursive algorithm, but I'll not explain you the whole, but I'll tell you the basics of it. What we do is out of this number we find that okay, what is the middle element. So we do 0 plus 7 divided by 2, which comes out to be 3.5. So we look at the third one because int. So this comes out to be the middle element. Now let's say if we were searching for 10, so in that case 10 and 10 are same, so we'll say that okay, we found it. So this is what the first part says, but it's not in our case, right? So let's say we are looking for 8. So obviously a part of our algorithm is we compare this element with this element that we are searching. So in that case, we go ahead and look at the left hand side part of it, because why? The mid element is greater than what we were looking for. Okay? What we were looking for. So in that case, we search the right part. But let's say if we were looking for, let's say 24. So in that case, since we will go ahead, look at the right part of it. Why? Because the mid element is smaller than whatever we are looking for. So, which is why, let's have a look upon the algorithm. So, compare x, this is fine. If x matches with the middle element, we return the mid index. Okay, fine. And then here we have to find out which one it is. Here they are saying if x is smaller than the middle element, we recur to the left half. So, right. Everything is fine here. But what's missing in the algorithm is, that is, if x is larger than mid, then we also need to probably look on the right hand side part. So that's what we need to figure out of the options that are there, right? So if x is greater, so here none of the options, obviously this is not true. Here they are saying if x is less than, so obviously this is one statement, then we recur the right hand side part of it. So this is true, but this is not true, because x needs to be greater than mid element, which is why we will look on the right hand side. So not true. Now if x is greater than the mid element, then obviously we need to recur to the right part. So in that case, option number 3 is correct. So perfect, option 3 is correct. Let's move ahead to the next question. I hope that you found the answer for it. Right, now again, in the next question, this is also a data structures questions that I wanted to take, but this particular question here, if you can see what I've written here, before pausing this particular video, or in fact you don't pause this particular question, because the question itself is incorrect. In fact, I'm going to tell you that there are 2 questions that Infosys gave in their exam but were wrong. This is one of the first questions. If you, let's say, find that okay, the question is right or something like that, maybe some of the people will think, feel free to do that in the comment section. But from my understanding, the question is incorrect. So what they are saying is, again, this is an insertion sort algorithm. I hope that you do understand how insertion sort algorithm works, or how insertion sort algorithm works. So if not, then I'll explain you. This is the algorithm that they have given, and these are the options. You need to find what is x here. So x value is 0 to j minus 1, or 0 to I, and 0 to j, and so on, right? So they need to find you, but I'll explain you the question, don't worry. But this question is incorrect. So I'll tell you why. How insertion sort algorithm works is, if you have an array, so let's say if you start with this, if you start with some array, so what you do is you try to make sure that your left part of the array gets sorted slowly and slowly, obviously. So let's say this particular part of the array, you will try to make it sorted by doing what? By picking up elements from the right handmost part one by one. So basically what I'll do is, I'll try to put this up here. Then for the next element, I would try to put this up somewhere here. And for the next element, obviously, let's say what I'm doing here is, for example, I'll take an example of this. So right now, after 2-3 iterations, what becomes is, this is the sorted part of the array, 1, after let's say 1 iteration. Now in the second iteration, what I am going to be doing here is, I want to figure out for 2. So what would happen is, I would pick this 2 and I'll be like, okay, I was checking this much here. Now the perfect position to enter in this whole sorted part of the array is this. So what I would need to do is, first of all, I would basically be inserting it here in the place of 3. But before that, I need to move all of these elements 1 position rightward. So 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and then finally 2 will come here. Alright. So I need to run a for loop wherein I element is becoming I plus 1 every time. But in our question, if you look at the question, they are doing something altogether wrong. Okay, so let's have a look upon the question that they are saying here. Okay, so in this case, first of all, they are saying if n is less than equal to 1. Okay, so insertion sort algorithm first part. Then they are saying if n is less than equal to 1, and return and tell to add more elements. So basically they're saying, okay, if the array only has 1 item, or let's say X value. So in that case, we can't apply insertion sort because the array itself has one item. So how can we sort the array? The array must already be sorted. So we are saying, okay, add more elements. So this is perfectly fine. Then it's saying that, okay, out of the whole array, sort the first n minus 1 elements. Okay, perfect. So it's saying sort the first n minus 1 elements. I'll believe the algorithm. But here it's saying that the question becomes even further more confusing. Why? Because here this is the last. What they've used here is this is the, here they've said key, but in this whole part of the question there is no key. There is no key. There is no variable called as key, and greater than the key element. What is the key element? Your key, you can name it as key, you can name it as I, you can name it as anything. Probably this question was written by some intern or somebody who is a who's just joined Infosys, and they asked that, okay, our campus drive is coming and we need to figure out this particular question here. So what's happening here is, out of the whole array, out of the whole, even if you don't understand it, take it through me. Out of the whole array, they are saying that, okay, we are creating a variable called as last, and we are giving it n minus 1 value. So basically, let's say if the array size is 7, so 6, which is why n minus 1. Okay, then apart from that, using int j is equals to n minus 2. So we are basically creating just the previous element and we are calling it j. Okay, so I'll believe the algorithm for the time being. Then I am saying that, okay, move the elements of ARR of X. Move the elements of ARR of X. So ideally you would think that, okay, ARR of X would be one value. So let's say 3, 4, 5, because that's what we need to move, right? That are greater than the key. What is the key? We don't know it, right? So ideally in the question, it's wrong. So because they've not mentioned the key, so we will assume for the time being that probably they were talking about this last as the key. So our key is this value, this last value is the key. But, and then they are saying move all the elements of ARR of X that are greater than key to one position ahead of their current position. So basically what's happening is, so let's say obviously if these two elements are gone, so in that case only this part of the array is there. Now let's say if the values are basically between 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 and something, right? So let's say they are basically talking in sense of that, okay, some elements between here to here, it could be maybe just this element, right? We need to move them where? We need to move them somewhere here, one position further down. So in that case, let's assume that we do it. So what would happen here is that this is not insertion sort algorithm. This is not insertion sort algorithm. This is something else altogether and does not even sort the array, because let's say even if I move all of them one position right, where do I insert this key value? They have not mentioned that, okay, insert the key value somewhere. So this question is completely, it's so wrong that even I can't make sense out of it. Okay. Ideally, what I would have done here is looking at the question, let's say if I want to make some sense, because if the question is wrong, what will you be doing? So to be honest, if you don't understand the question, it's completely fine, because even I don't understand the question. I've tried to explain why the question is wrong, because there's no sense coming from the algorithm that they are saying. Only thing that we know here is that this is last, this is j, which is n minus 2. So these are the two things that we know. They've not mentioned any I at all. So obviously, if they've not mentioned any I, so in the question, this and this will not be there. At least if you have to mark a right answer in the wrong question, this is the only way to move forward, right? Now you're left with J. Now you have to move ARR of X items. So in that case, obviously, let's say if these two elements are fixed, so probably what I would need to do is I would need to move all of these elements. Maybe they are saying that, okay, one position ahead. Correct. So in that case, till here I will be moving, and this particular position is nothing but j minus 1. So I would have marked with the wrong question, with the wrong information that I have, option number 1 as my answer. And I completely understand if you did not understand the question, it's wrong. It's wrong. The insertion, basically the reason why, because the company is so stupid that it asked first people who are working in Infosys and just fresh from college to create their papers, and it's wrong. So let's have a look upon basically this is how insertion sort works. If you want to check Prep Insta's website, you can check it. All you need to do is you need to go to Prep Insta, then from Prep Insta go to prepare programming, let's say go to data structures, and from data structures you can go to the, let's say from here, insertion sort algorithm in C++, Java, and then from here you'll get the whole algorithm and everything that you need to know, right? So moving ahead particularly to the next question that we have in question. Okay, so now this particular question also, the question is right but the options are correct now, which is, and doesn't matter, to be honest. They asked you the question, so you should know the right way to solve this particular question. That's the only thing that's important, but the options that they've given are completely incorrect. Okay, so let's have a look upon the question. So forget about the options. I hope that you know how to solve this particular question. This is a question which has a difficulty level of gate. To be honest, this is a gate question. They've just changed the values of it. So let's have a look upon how we'll be solving this particular question. Now, again, as I told you, this is a gate level of question. Infosys has just changed the values. Now, to be honest, I'll explain you the question, but do not question why I'm solving this way, because this is a gate level question. To explain you the reason why I'm solving this question this way would be wasting 30 minutes. It will take 30 minutes. But all you need to know is this question came in Infosys, but it comes again. How would I solve this again? Because I want to not take fake questions. I guess online study for you. I watched one video on their YouTube. All of them were fake questions. They took it from anywhere of the internet and created a video called as Infosys, etc. Infosys pseudocode questions. But I want to actually help you understand actual questions, difficult questions the right way. So moving ahead, basically there are two ways to solve this particular question. One is the worst case. There's one more way of how do you solve this, but that's a best case. Since in the question we have worst case, I'll tell you how to solve it for the worst case, but there's an best way method that's different. But they are asking us worst case right now. Right. So to help you explain that, what they are saying is there are A, B, C, D, E, F strings, and then of length this. So what is A? A is some string like Atulya. B is some string like let's say Manish, and C is some string, etc. D is some string. What you need to do is you need to merge these strings together, all of them finally in the worst case possible. Now, how do you do that? There's an algorithm for that. Basically, you sort all of them in ascending order repetitively. And why repetitively? I'll tell you why and how repetitively. So basically, initially what I'll be having is I'll be having 11, then 23, then 25, then 34, then 39, and then finally 44 is basically what I would be having. Now, what I need to do is I need to check the lowest two strings and merge them. So let's say if I merge these two, my resultant string would be of size 11 plus 23. That is 11 plus 23. It would be of 34 size. So the resultant string would be of 34. And according to the algorithm, the number of comparisons, because that we have to calculate the number of comparisons, is the formula for that is m plus n minus 1. So in this case, it would be 11 plus 23 minus 1. So for the time being, I will not calculate the comparison, because according to it, whatever comparisons are basically this number minus 1, right? These are the number of comparisons. So I'll calculate this. I'll use this formula at the very end of the video for each and everything. So now I have these strings. Now I will repetitively again do them in ascending order. So since these two are merged together to a string called as string of size 34, so the lowest value here is 25. Then I can pick up either this 34 or this 34, doesn't matter. So 34, then 34, then this 39, and then this 44. So 39 and then this 44. Then again I'll do the same thing. I will merge these two values together. So the resultant of this 25 plus 34 would become for us 59. Now again I'll not calculate again using this formula. I'll do that later because eventually I need to add all of those values. Again I will be now this basically string has become this value. So I'll again calculate all of that. So my value would become, this is lowest, so 34, 39, 44 and 59. Then I'll pick up the lowest two numbers, so 34 and 39 becomes 73. I'm looking at from here because difficult. So it becomes 73 now. Right. Then again I'll do the same thing. These again, this particular string merged together has become this. So basically it would become finally, after this would become 44, 59 and 73. Then again I'll do the same thing, that is 44 plus 59 becomes 103. So 103. Then again these two strings gone, only this is the resultant string, this is the pending string. Again I'll write in ascending order, that is 73 and 103. Now these are the only final two strings left. So 73 plus 103 becomes 176 after resultant of it, and that's the only thing. Now what will I do is, my final value would be that using this formula, right? M plus n minus 1. Now this value is nothing but m plus n. So whatever this value is, I can just reduce it to minus 1 and then write it. So this is 33, this is 58, this is 72, this is 102 and this is 175. So all I need to do is add all of them. So if I add 33, 58 plus 58 plus 72 plus 102 plus 175, the resultant of all of this would be, I guess, 440. So, but in the options, there is no 440. Some random intern solved this incorrectly. So you should not care. First of all, trust me, this is the answer. If your answer somehow is right, just don't write, no sir, you told it wrong. This is the answer. I want you to do it step by step and tell me the answer. Even I'll be educated that way. But you know, there are 5 people who solved this question, even including me. The options were correct, but the question was correct, right? Because they just changed the value, but somebody solved it incorrectly in mathematical errors in Infosys for a second year person in Infosys solved it incorrectly. So let's have a look upon the next question here. Okay. Now, this particular question is this. Again, this is a pseudocode question. So all the 3 previous questions that I showed you were probably were basically data structures question. But again, they'll also be asking pseudocode question, even though name of the section is pseudocode, but there are Java, Python and data structure questions also. So if you don't know Java and Python, you need to know if you want to clear Infosys. Again, it's important for written and even more so than interview. You can't say that I only know C and C++. You have to know Java and Python also, mandatory. Okay. At least one out of Java and Python, at least one language. So let's go ahead. Basically, this is the particular question. Now, this question is correct this time. I want you to solve it on your own and pause the video. And then, you know, if you don't understand it, then I'll help you with that. So let's go. So you would have solved it probably the right way, but probably would have taken a little more time. Now, main objective, obviously everybody would be able to solve it. It's basically the exam. When the exam is happening, you have so much pressure and you need to make sure that you're solving this question within 20 seconds or 30 seconds. If it took more than that for you, then wasting of time. So my objective here is not to help you understand the question. My objective here is to tell you how do you solve it quickly. So basically here they're saying output is 25. Now, this is it. Now I see that, okay, they are playing somewhere with the output. All I need to know is output increasing, that is plus is happening, or is output decreasing, that is minus is happening. Okay, minus is happening. Perfect. So in this case, as you can see, minus is happening here. Now, as soon as I see this, I don't look anywhere else in the code. As soon as I see this, I'm like, okay, my numbers will start from 25. Where will it stop? It will stop at 0. right? Or basically greater than 0, so it will basically be stopping at while input is greater than 0, so 0 or 1, right? So that's where I would be stopping. So let's have a look upon it. Now my number is since starting from 25, so I need to look at 25 condition only. Is this 0 to 10? No, this is not 25 condition. This is 10 to 20. This is not 25 condition. This is 20 to 30. So yes, here 25 condition would be happening. So this particular condition will run how many times? It will run for 25, then minus minus happens, so run for 24, then run for 23, then run for 22, and then run for 21. Will it run for 20? No, it will not, because greater than equal to sign is not there, just greater than sign is there. So it's running 5 times quickly. So, and then we are printing 3 stars. So my first number here is 5 into 3 is equals to 15. Then I'll do the same thing. Now I am at 20. So obviously for 20, this particular condition would be matching, but for how many times? So all the times between 11 to 20. How many numbers are there? These are 10 numbers, right? Because if you include 20 also, it will become 10 numbers. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Count it out if you are confused. So number of stars that we are printing are 2. So 10 into 2 is equals to 20. Going ahead. Same, then further, this particular condition would be met. How many times? 10 times. From 1 to 10. How many numbers? 10 numbers. So, but how many stars are we printing? So 10. 1 star. So 10 into 1 is equals to 10. So basically 15, 35, 35 answer would be 45 stars. Now, I've also written the code for it as well. If you want to try out that particular code, here's the code wherein I've created a variable here. So you can check this if you want. I'm kind of running it on Prep and Stars compiler. So you can even create a variable and then finally print the value of k, that is how many times. So I've done k is equals to k plus 3, k is equals to k plus 2, k plus plus is what I've done here. Right, so my main objective, how are we solving this question, would be this particular way. Very quickly I explained you, so which is why it took time, right? So moving ahead to the next question. Now this is the screenshot of the question. I'll show it to you. If you can read it from here, you can pause the video here. If you can't read it from here, pause the video here. One thing that I forgot to mention, the value of n that you have to read is 35. So I hope that you pause the video and then we'll code it together, or I'll explain you. So let's go ahead. So basically what's happening here is I can solve this question in 10 seconds. 10 seconds. But to explain you, so it will take 1 or 2 minutes. But at the very end, I'll tell you how do you solve this in 10 seconds, right? That needs confidence, and basically, which is why on Prep and Stuff Prime, we've created a separate course called as pseudocode. And therein we show you that, okay, these are the different type of questions and these are the tricks that you can use to solve those pseudocode questions, because those will be asked in practically almost each and every placement exam. And even when you join a particular company and you're switching the company after 2-3 years, then also they'll have an online test pseudocode. So even, which is why I am good at pseudocode, because I was preparing at placements also, and even after my job, even when I was working as well. So let's go ahead and read n. So n value is 35. I hope that you've read the question. This is a while loop, and basically starts here and ends here. And but more importantly, you need to figure out two values, n and I, and you need to keep track of both of them. So what happens is, this is the challenging condition, that is when this condition is not satisfied, you'll break out of the while loop. So what happens is, you start with n value as 35. And you start with an I value of 0. Then move ahead. While n is n modulus 10 is not equal to 0. So n value is 35. You basically n percentage 10, is that equal to 0? No, it's not. It's equal to 5. So we'll do whatever is mentioned in the for loop. So they're saying that, okay, change the value to plus 3. So yes, it will become 38. Then they're saying do I plus plus. Okay, fine. I'll do I plus plus, which is why the value of this would get changed to 1. Then again, while loop will start back. Now, next time my value is 38 percentage 10, still it is 8, not 0. So whenever it becomes 0, I'll stop my while loop. So still, I'll have to change the value from 38 to 41. I'll have to change my value from 0 to 2 because I plus plus also. Then it becomes 41. 41 percentage 10, 1, no. So still I will have to change it to 44. Then still I will have to change it to 3. Then again further, 44 percentage 10 is equal to 4. Then I'll have to change the value to 47. Then I'll have to change the value to 4. Then again, next time, 47 percentage 10 is equal to 7. So which is why for the next time I need to change the value to 50, and here I need to change it to 5. Now next time 50 percentage 10 equal to 0. Now I can stop. So I break out of this while loop. I directly implement this line, that is n equal to n plus I. My value of n is 50. My I value is 5. So 55 is the answer. I print the answer, mark it and move ahead. But question is, how do you solve it quickly within 10 seconds? Simple. Let's say if I look at the question, I'm like, okay, 35. I will have a look at my condition that's breaking. That, okay, whenever my n value basically becomes 0, then I will stop with the while loop. And in that while loop, what is happening? In that while loop, my I is getting incremented by +1 and my n is getting incremented by +3. But the condition is only met by n, so I will only check n. And I'll only check how many times the while loop is running, right? So simply what I'll do is, okay, perfect. Everything is increasing by 3. So 35, 38, 41, 44, 47, 50. How many times my while loop is running? Basically, it's running these many number of times. So 5, which is why my I value will also get increased by 5. So 50 plus 5 is 55. So in fact, why not for, so let's say you can also argue that, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The loop is running 6 times. No, it's not. The loop is running here, 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 here. And at this final condition, it is not running because that's when we break. So this value and this value doesn't increase. Had it been not a while loop or a do while loop, then it would have changed. So that's primarily the kind of questions that you can expect. For more questions, again, go to prepinsta.com. And then in, for example, Infosys previous year papers, you will search, you will come to this particular page. And from there, go to this particular section, pseudocode. If you click here, you'll come to this page and you'll find all the previous year questions of pseudocode, right? So that's basically about it. Now, how do you prepare for it further? Now, what I would recommend for you is, if you already have PrepInsta Prime subscription, anybody who follows our YouTube basically channel is a PrepInsta Prime subscriber. At least 70 to 80% of you who are watching are already Prime subscribers. So in that case, what I would recommend you is C++, Java. These 3 courses I will recommend you, but maybe if you're not a Java programmer, you can skip Java. Only one question will come of Java. I'll show you. I am going to solve more questions now, by the way. So that Python also for interviews, it's important, but one question can also come in the online test. So recommend Python also. And then, for example, pseudocode course is what I'm also proposing. Apart from that, go to our Infosys course. Here, practice whatever is given here. Where is that? Infosys course, right? Go here. And apart from that, obviously practice quants, logical, verbal, and data interpretation and visual reasoning. And we have a, so basically that's it. The numerical puzzle section, there's a puzzles here, but that's practically for the interview, as you can see. So there's a puzzle section here that's practically for the interview, but you will find the puzzles things here in this particular Infosys course. So that's basically about it. About the interviews, again, we'll make a separate video about interviews, so don't worry about it. Okay, now moving ahead to the further set of questions, there are a few questions. As you can see, you will not be able to read it. This is the question. Now I'll not explain you this particular code, because what I want you to understand, I want you to feel right now that I know less. Why? Because a lot of you, let's say there's a video I saw of online study for you or some random channel. They only showed you pseudocode questions. They did not show the hard questions. Why? Because so that, because they are not able to solve the hard question. This is why, right? But I wanted to solve and show you the hard questions, the questions that are wrong in the exams also, so that questions can be wrong in the exam, and still, let's say, you can figure out some way to how to mark them right. right? Now, for this particular question, this is Java question that came in pseudocode. To be honest, even I was not able to solve it. First of all, I'm not a Java developer, but I gave it to my team. Even these guys were also like, we could have never solved this particular question at all without Google. Right. I'll not tell you the answer. I want you to Google that. And I want you to know that there can be some Java questions so difficult, but there can be Java questions also. So you need to study Java. So probably comment this particular answer to this question with a reason. You'll get the top 3 comments of Prep Insta. Second thing, this is also one question, which is, to be honest, it's a competitive programming or maybe a data structures question, but it's a level of difficulty is very similar to a competitive programming question. You don't need to do competitive programming, but if you studied competitive programming or data structures deeply, in that case you'll know the answer for this. I've given you a hint also. Obviously it's not knapsack and so on. I'll not give you a hint. Again, top 3 comments, please comment out the reason. Top 3 comments get Prepinsta Prime subscription for free. I can tell you the answer. The answer is right there in my front of me. But again, so that's pretty much about it. Thank you so much. All the very best. I'm really sorry if I demotivated you a little bit in terms of showing you hard questions, but I actually want to help you, which is why I had screenshot, because last time I made hard questions video, people were like, no, you're just demotivating us. I want to actually tell you this would be the level of difficulty of the exam, so that when the exam comes, you'll be able to do that. Expect the difficulty. So these are actual questions from last year, but probably this year they realize that they've been making wrong questions. They've been making very difficult questions that they themselves are not able to solve. Thus, then they are wrong. So probably they reduce the difficulty. But we'll go ahead with the level of difficulty of last year. So thank you so much. I'll see you up ahead in the next video.